What's up, everybody? It's Herd the Stout here, and I wanted to give a quick update on the where we are on the ladder, and I wanted to give my feedback on my thoughts on how I feel about the ladder right now. Currently, I am sitting at Gold 1. We're just under a 55% win rate. I was running for the start of it. I made a quick last-minute decision. I was running a lot more of the RDW deck, the red deck wins. Sometimes I've been playing a little more with Jeskai. I switched off of the Golgari and the Fat Red at the last minute because I figured it'd be a lot easier to jump, to grind out games quicker to jump up the ladder. And then actually as people, and that was the case the first couple of days, but as people figured out what the metagame was, the red deck wins hasn't been as successful. It's still finding some success, but I've been playing a little bit more Jeskai, go for the more controlling matchups. Longer games, but still much better win rate, actually. The metagame breakdown looks a lot better than the previous iteration of ranking. You're seeing a large variety of decks you're running into. Boros, Burn, Black White Vampires, Dimir, Fat Green, Golgari, Grixis, Dinosaurs, Izzet, Jeskai, Merfolk, and Selesnya. Those are the ones I'm seeing a lot of. And then there's also even a bunch of random jank decks here and there that are cropping up. The one that I'm having the hardest time with actually is Dimir, and I think a lot of people are. That one kind of came out of nowhere. I'm not sure many of us kind of thought that Dimir discard Surveil deck was going to be as good as it really is, or as it is right now. Then a lot of people have been talking about the ladder itself, best of one versus best of three. There's a lot of pros and cons for both of them. I'm happy with the best of one ladder as it is right now. Best of three would be a little slower grind, just because I think of like the Jeskai matchup. That game can sometimes, if you get a mirror match, you can have games that go 30 minutes long. If you're in best of three, that could be an hour and a half just to do one match. And I know that on the other hand, that the game itself from a base level is actually developed for best of three. Mana bases actually are make things more swingy. The fact that we include our mana bases in our deck compared to other games. So that makes it more swingy, and actually the game itself has to have hand protection built into the system itself. In case you didn't know, the game itself is actually drawing two hands and selecting the best one for you. They're selecting the hand that has the best has the best ratio of lands to cards you can cast. I believe that's how it's best done. I know a lot of people are saying that best of one allows for a lot less deck teching. I actually disagree with that point. You tend to have, when you are in a best of three format, which most competitive Magic is, you actually end up with fewer decks that actually have a lot more answers. So if you take the Golgari deck, for example, you build your Golgari deck a certain way, and then you add discard cards in there for certain matchups. You put some more destruction cards in there for other matchups, and so on and so on. And instead you have a deck that has lots of answers. Whereas currently in best of one, you have to actually take a look at the metagame and decide, what do I actually put in my main deck? Not what can I build my deck and then throw pieces in there for matchups that aren't fun for me or I don't match up against. I do think we have a more diverse metagame right now, because I'm truly seeing a wide variety of decks that we're playing. I will say I'm only at Gold right now. I know at the top of the ladder and Diamond and Platinum there are a lot fewer decks, but I think that it has more of a more to deal with, that there are fewer people in that section of the ladder right now. But I think as time goes on and we grind more, that you'll start seeing more decks in there. more variety of a deck in the metagame. That kind of leads me to the other point is best of one, and it kind of is more of a grind than a test of skill. You can end up with more of it ends up being more of a roulette game of what do I match up against. The people who are the very first couple of days, those aggro decks, the red deck wins were doing really well. The people who ranked up really quickly, a lot of them played those games, and they were because they were able to play games quicker. They just got the right matchups, and they not to say that, not to take anything away from them, but everything lined up for those players. Whereas some of the more the slower decks took some time to get up the ladder, so they're taking so there is that to deal with in a best of one format. The reality is, it boils down to a perception issue right now, especially of the player base. I think we do kind of need to break up our perceptions of rank play versus competitive play. The other thing is, this is I think we need to give time for the metagame to balance out. I mean, this is still actually the very first iteration of a competitive best of one format. So if we give time for this format to develop and see what happens, I think in the end it's going to balance out, and it's going to be a healthy format. The other thing we have to consider is that because we're still in closed beta right now, that we may actually have best of 3 in the future. Hi, kiddo.
Hi.
So, well, it's something we'll have to give it time to see what happens and see what the developers are thinking. Like I said, overall, I'm happy with the format right now. Yeah, I want to know your thoughts. Feel free to hit me up on Twitter, comment down below, or follow me on Twitch, and we can chat there. Peace!